dance.
So you were exposed to theater fairly early, I'm hearing.
Oh, yes. So I was lucky because my family, we've been in the arts and performing arts for pretty much since I was born. So, I first started dancing when I was 3 years old. I saw my mom dancing in this beautiful ballet class. She was on point. And then, she took point classes at the Marin Ballet School.
Oh, cool.
And she took me to classes, and I would watch in fascination. And then next thing you know, I'm getting up and I'm starting to try and dance with them.
Oh, wow.
So then my mom put me in movement and dance class and ballet since I was 3. But I'm trained in all styles across the board.
Oh, cool. One thing that I'm really curious about with people who start performing early, it seems like there's a little bit of a third eye that you learn to perform for. In your movements, the way you move through the world, there's a learned grace because there's people watching you. In theater especially, you can adopt personas. How do you maintain authenticity when you're a learned performer?
Yeah, that is such a great question. For me, I like to try and immerse myself into a character. So if it's in theater, for example, I try and study, okay, what's my character's objective? What is their motivation? Who am I becoming? And the more I become and inherit that character, then I don't think about that third eye. Or, hey, people are watching me, And then I just feel more authentic. But if it's dance, I don't know, for me, it's always just been, I don't think about the audience. I just like to immerse myself in the music. And I like to immerse myself in the experience of just me just dancing. And then, because especially if I worked so hard to choreograph something myself or perform someone else's choreography, I want to just immerse myself in the music and the experience. And then I kind of forget about the audience. I just tune them out. And I feel like that's where my genuine authenticity comes from when I perform.
Do you think that being a dancer allows you to convey emotion better in general?
Oh, yeah, definitely. A lot for me, for dancing and ballet especially, it's more like through the movement is where you express yourself. But you can, have a calm, like small little smile, or if it's a really sad, dramatic ballet, then you're going to try and be sad, I guess. But for everything else, I love to just try and be expressive.
There's like a universal language of human body position and movement, I think, and people pick up on it really subtly. Do you find yourself like thinking about it actively if you're trying to connect with somebody?
No.
Do you consciously, or maybe even subconsciously, but in reflection, you realize that it was some metaconscious, do things in order to communicate using your body?
Oh, absolutely, I do. Yeah. I also notice if people, are like hunched over, I'm like, I ought to try and like straighten my posture. But yeah, I try and, mirror people's movements or, sometimes it's conscious, sometimes it's subconscious or unconscious. Yeah.
Have you noticed any patterns in other people that you think are interesting in their movements? Like you talk about the hunching, but what else have you seen? 'Cause I'm sure you pick up on things.
I know men really like to spread their legs out and then like hunch over. So when I was playing a man in high school, just tell me Theseus about your blah, blah, blah. So exactly. You just try it. Or like if I know men also like they, have their like chest up. And so, for example, I don't know, I feel like women were more, graceful and dainty and we don't have to, But yeah, I like to study people's movements and kind of learn about them, I guess, through their, how they hold themselves or how they sit or how they walk.
Yeah, it's interesting. Your mom and dad seem very different. A biotech, VC, very executive sort of role, and then your mother's a dancer. Do they have different body movements?
My dad has 2 left feet.
Really?
I love you, Dad, but you're such a horrible dancer. I have to be like, okay, now we're going to go side to side now. And my older brother also inherited the 2 left feet. I'm very sad for them, but...
Do you think it's a little bit tied to his body positioning needing to be stable? He needs to signal stability?
Yes.
So there's no grace?
Oh, absolutely. Well, actually, question for you as a man. Do you feel the same? Do you feel like, I don't know, you need to be graceful or do you prefer stability?
I feel like there's less axes to work with. So within the body, there's a bunch of pivot points, but I feel like there has to be enough sturdy solidness, and so I get less axis to move on. And I don't know, that's probably like a socially ingrained thing, but it seems as though you have many more dimensions of movement, I would assume.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. As a dancer, yeah. I don't feel like I'm stuck to the plane, the x-axis, the y-axis. For me, I'm 360. I can move and be graceful about it, and I'm not a robot. So that's so interesting too, as to get your perspective too on movement.
Yeah, it definitely does feel like there's a little bit of a third eye maybe, and I'm conscious of my movement for sure. Do you think that you could walk into other people's roles and sort of, because I'm sure you've studied quite a bit of roles, a diverse spectrum of personality. Could you, you have your normal day job, could you say walk into an executive role? And could you walk into a flourishing creative director role and everything in between?
I think I could, honestly, yeah. If I, study people, but also what they do, I think I could, yeah.
What sort of roles do you think call to you that are other than your current one?
Oh, definitely creative director. Also being an assistant, production assistant, I think would be fun. Or a lead production assistant, I think always looked fun. A therapist. No, I feel like part of my job is part being a therapist and helping people. Maybe a nurse, I think. I've always just loved helping people.
I'm assuming, just from what I picked up on, you have high empathy levels. Do you think that comes from understanding so many people's personas that you're able to walk in their shoes pretty readily, or at least some semblance of their shoes?
Oh, 100%. I do think so. I think, yeah, just trying to figure out and also hearing where people come from or where they're coming from. And then I can, get into their headspace a little bit or walk in their shoes. Absolutely. Yeah.
There's a lot of gray area.
I know there is gray area.
Is it hard to find personal stability of opinion when you can see both sides?
Oh, well, I think for me, I try not to just don't judge people. Don't judge where they come from, where they're trying to be, where they're trying, as humans, we're multidimensional, we're messy, but we're also fascinating and we're graceful and we're beautiful. And we're trying to still just figure out this thing called life. And so I think getting into that headspace and, not thinking, okay, like they have a certain political belief that I don't believe in, or this person's come from very different, humble beginnings in a different background than I came from. But I like people. I want to know people and learn more about people. So that's how I do that.
I'm curious where you sit in maybe your friend circle or previous friend circles, and it sounds like your current professional role is also parallel to that. Just meander on that for a little bit.
All right, let's meander. So I like to be people call me the glue. I'm the one who sticks everyone and everything together. Even a CEO at a company I used to work for called me the glue, and I felt so flattered by that.
That's a great role.
Thank you. But I feel like I am the glue, I like to make sure everyone's included. I like to make sure everyone feels heard and can feel safe and just be themselves and we can have fun. And so I just want to be that person to just hold it all together and make sure everyone's equally being themselves and can bring themselves.
Does it come at a cost to you at all to have that much measurement going on?
It does, because I put people before I put myself. That's one of my biggest weaknesses. So it does come at a cost.
Is it fun though? A little bit?
Oh, it's fun. That's what I care about in life. I care about people and putting people before myself. So sure, it does come at that cost, but it's worth it to me.
Yeah, I think that in most environments, the best thing you can do for somebody is just listen to them and understand them, and then give them the classic yes and, which I'm sure you're very familiar with.
What's that?
It is, I think, a way of just acknowledging that somebody fully exists and that their perspective is valid. And it seems as though you do that very well.
Thank you.
What are your social circles like? Tell me, you're the glue for what?
Oh, so many different groups. So I really like to put myself into the community of San Francisco. So I've tried everything from a cappella to, I just recently joined a really fun group called Aka Hub. Great people. In fact, we're doing live karaoke as a karaoke band, and I've joined that. And so that's like my next fun side quest adventure socially. Ooh. Thank you. And then I've even tried cold plunging this year. I got into the cold plunging, and the bay's freezing cold, people, but it's so fun to just be surrounded by other people who are in this experience with you.
And so I imagine you've been here for a while, at least 11 years. You found conduits for finding things. What is it that might spark your attention? What is the meta pattern of things that call to you?
Ooh, great question. Trying new things. Honestly, putting myself out there, putting myself out of my comfort zone, but also things I know in the past that I enjoy doing. So if it's artistic, if it's creative, but also if I know it's trying something new and different and just adding something new to my experience in my life, then I'm going to try it.
And with a lot of these groups, there's a lot of groups that spring up, especially around San Francisco. Yeah. They're new and they don't have an established culture yet, which kind of leads people to not feel as though there's a mirror of their own identity. They don't see themselves as part of the group, maybe. I would love to get your specific thoughts on how to connect people in these kind of groups, how to bring them into an event and allow them to feel as though they're included there.
Ooh, that is such a great question. First of all, just get to know them, just strike up a conversation. And then that way, if you then say like, wait a minute, I also met so-and-so and so-and-so is also really into this thing. Like, hey, you two should also talk to each other. And then the more you kind of figure out that common thread of what people like or who they are, then you think, oh, okay, I think this person will also get along with this person. And then you kind of slowly start to become that glue.
So you're allowing people to see a little bit of themselves in each other because you've recognized it first. Exactly.
Wow.
That sounds like a tremendous amount of memory. Do you have a notebook, or is it just...
I actually have photographic memory, but also
no way.
I was born with it. Fun party trick.
Amazing.
But also, I have a really strong memory, I've learned. And not just photographically, but also for faces, for facts, for people, it's one of my other party tricks. Or at my job, I'm like, oh yeah, I can tell when you're hired because I onboarded you, but you also like this, and this, and this. And they're like, oh my gosh, he remembers everything about me.
That is incredible. It's very annoying, but here in San Francisco, everything... No, not you. Here in San Francisco, everything ties back into AI. And I don't mean to bring this into this conversation, except to say
here we go.
What it is like a huge... It's getting better because of more context.
Right.
And it feels like it has a little bit more depth to it because it's getting more context. You have a photographic memory, which means that you have a substantial amount more context. You have more information points to draw on. So Does it give you better pictures of things? Are you able to go in with more depth into things because you have more context?
Absolutely. I do feel like, yeah, I can start with something pretty deep and then go deeper into it with that context.
What does it look like? I'm so curious about the path your mind takes.
I just kind of see words or puzzles or images, and then from there I just start threading it all together.
Really? Is it quick?
Very.
Wow.
The synapses are firing. That is, the neurons are working.
Are there areas of it where it's stronger or weaker?
I would say with lyrics and words, I feel it's the strongest. And how I learned that was, it was my freshman year in high school. I got the lead role, which no one had done in, 20-something years. I had over 4 monologues and 500 lines to memorize in 2 months.
Wow.
No pressure. So the more I started just studying and looking at the script and then just starting to kind of read it back to myself, that's like, wait a minute, this is how I'm memorizing things. But then I remembered, okay, so my monologue starts on page 32, goes to 33. It starts with,
Wow.
and then it starts with, it'll follow me to the grave and be written on my epitaph. Here lies Moon, the second string. Where's Higgs? And then my brain just like, wait, I just memorized this whole 2 pages of how did I do that?
Mm-hmm. It's often said that like novelty helps your life seem longer, seem more enriched. But you have a certain special kind of novelty where even 2 days that may seem groundhoggy to other people are different, are able to be recalled in a different way to you. Do you feel like your life has more depth than maybe the average person?
I mean, I like to think so. I hope so. I mean, sure, we like to stick to our routine because that's what feels comfortable to us. But at the same time, I like to try and do different things. But sometimes, now working from home, because I used to work in an office and now we're not hybrid anymore. I'm like, Groundhog's Day here. So I'm trying to get myself out of that rut, out of that thinking, and just, go on a walk, try a different walk, maybe eat something different for dinner, listen to a different song today, read a different book today.
And I'm really interested in how you think about faces. So as somebody who is very cognizant of movement and what movement conveys, and somebody who also is able to remember faces fairly well, I would love to know any meta patterns you've picked up in faces.
Ooh. I'd say eyes. I like to look at people's eyes. I like to try and pick up on the emotion. And I like to, what is their facial shape maybe? What are their facial features? And then just snapshot. I just did a snapshot of your face. It's going into my brain, and then photographic memory.
And then, not to draw caricatures or anything, but are there any specific ways that you've noticed where facial features are linked to personalities?
That's so interesting. Maybe, yes and no. I feel like some people can have, the biggest, craziest beard you've ever seen in your life, but they're actually gentle giants. Or maybe they enjoy axe throwing and they're in a metal band. It can be different parts of the spectrum. So I try not to judge people's faces on their features.
And I do wonder, we talked a little bit about sunscreen in the beginning.
We did.
But sunscreen results in like wrinkles, but other things people talk about how smile lines are an effect of facial muscles being pushed in a certain way.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with like furrowed brows and frowning and even teeth irregularities. Over time, we pick up on things that are tied to clenching, high stress.
Yeah.
And especially being in the theatrical world, there are certain visual cues that signal, oh, this person's a villain. So
that's true.
Yeah. So
like my widow's peak.
Yeah. So I wonder, how do you feel like you're pretty able to diagnose is a very strong word, get an inkling for somebody's personality just based on their face?
Again, yes and no. I feel like it depends on the person. It depends how they present themselves first to me. And then the more I get to know them, depends. Like right now, you furrow your brow a little bit when you're listening, which is lovely. But, that's something I'm noticing about you and your facial features. But I guess for villains, I don't know, because I feel like, you and I, we could be villains and no one will know. I mean,
that's the best kind of villain, is the one you don't expect.
Exactly. Yeah. One of my favorite roles in my performing arts camp, I went to on the East Coast. I played Regan in King Lear, and she was just this power hungry, evil woman. I'm like, that is a departure of who I am, but it's a fun, meaty role. And I'm going to immerse myself into thinking, I want power. I want ambition. So sure, that makes her a villain to other people, but she doesn't see herself as villainous.
In that role specifically, could you have taken that life?
Oh, gosh, no. Personally, I did not like walking in her shoes. I did not want to walk in her 5-inch Manolos,
What did it feel like to wear those clothes for a little while? Where do you think it would lead if you were to do it day by day?
I feel like I kind of can channel that power if I'm trying to negotiate something or try and get something to go more my way. I try and immerse that I am powerful, I am ambitious, I am confident, Or in interviews, I also like to present myself as I am confident, I want this job, here's why I'm a great candidate.
Yeah.
So sometimes I might take that character's psychology a little bit, but not to the extent of she's power hungry, wants to take over the company or the family business from her fellow sisters,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I imagine that it's a good tool. Not
It can be.
Persona.
Yeah, don't recommend the persona part.
Yeah, and I looked at your profile a little bit, and you're a big reader.
Oh, yes.
And I projecting, that reading is also a great way to understand character personas. You've walked in a lot of text shoes too. Tell me about some of your favorite book characters.
Ooh, I love this question. So growing up, I really loved Holden Caulfield, of course, from Catcher in the Rye. Felt like he was very misunderstood and intellectual, and in a way I felt I too, sometimes had trouble connecting with my peers when I was younger too, because I didn't understand as much how I was coming across to them. And so I had to learn, how to, I guess, pull that part of myself back a little bit. I too was, came across as, I guess, like way too intellectual or misunderstood. And so I felt like I was able to really understand where that character is coming from. And of course, Stradlater. And then Stradlater. Let's see, who else? I've always really liked Elizabeth Bennet of Pride and Prejudice. Of course, he doesn't like our classic Lizzie. Let's see, who else?
With Holden specifically, were you a polite kid?
Oh, I still say yes, please, and thank you.
Yeah, I feel like what Holden did for a lot of people is let it be okay to have irrational emotionality. Do you ever wish to embody that Holden sort of lash out, even in a self-destructive sense, when you can't find where to place the anger?
Oh, 100%. But I've learned how to channel my anger into healthy ways. So for example, dart throwing, axe throwing, going to a Wreck-It room, listening to loud metal music, even just dancing are all ways in which I cathartically let out my anger in a healthy way. But for sure, sometimes I'm like, wonder what it would be like if I emotionally lashed out at people. Like how?
Nearest box of cigarettes.
Don't smoke, kids. Smoking's bad for you. Don't do that.
And then I am actually pretty unfamiliar with Pride and Prejudice. So
oh, really?
Tell me in your words, describe our dear Lizzie and what it is that you resonate with her.
Oh, goodness. I love our Elizabeth Bennet. I love how she doesn't really think of herself as the main character energy because she has all these sisters. And a lot of her sisters are, trying to find their way in the world and trying to find their suitors. And she's just kind of been supportive. And then she meets this man, this Mr. Fitzgerald Darcy. And at first, they just butt heads. They don't get along. She can't get past the fact that he's just snobby and prejudiced. And it's her pride also that is her folly and gets her in the way of trying to make connections with suitors to, get married too, because also her mother and parents have forced her to get married too. But she also really enjoys writing. And for her, writing is how she expresses herself and her voice and how she can write, to her siblings, to her family, to letters to other people. And she also loves reading. So we have that in common too. She's very bookish. And so let's see, from there, her and Darcy start spending time together because her sister is, Darcy's friend is courting her sister. So she's kind of like, oh no, I'm kind of forced to spend more time with this guy. But she starts finding the more time she spends with him, the more she's actually starting to get along with him. And there's more to this man. And so then she learns once he holds back his prejudice and she holds back her pride, then they can eventually they fall in love.
And a lot of these formative books find us in pretty pivotal moments of our life. Was it a childhood book for you?
Oh, this was high school.
This was high school.
Yeah.
Where were you at in life that this book was so cleanly tied to your own experience?
Ooh, I was 15 years old, sophomore year. We read Pride and Prejudice. And I think I was in that period of my life, where, so first of all, I actually went to a Catholic all-girls high school, fun fact, great education. And then it wasn't until I went to my arts camp on the East Coast, where I'm like, oh, boys. And so for me, I too was trying to understand, I'm very bookish. I'm intellectual. Can I too make a love connection with someone, Yeah.
Do you feel like it set the tone for some of your later romantic connections?
Oh, yeah, it still does.
Is that, do you think, a positive or negative thing? I don't know anything about the book.
Oh, that's fine. Kind of a mix of both, I think. Yeah. I try not to I don't have pride issues. I think maybe it's more, I don't want to say prejudice, but I know I have, different background than a lot of people, but that's what makes us human.
You're a bit of an understander.
A bit.
And the way you just described Darcy is as a puzzle. And it seems as though you enjoy puzzles as well.
Oh, I love puzzles.
Is there any negative consequence to being drawn towards the complicated people?
Yeah, because I want to try and fix them or help them. And sometimes they're unfixable or they don't want to be helped. And so that's the hardest problem for me is I have to step back. I have to recognize I can't always fix people, or I shouldn't try and fix people all the time because that leads to burnout, especially emotional burnout.
It's kind of a hard problem, right? Because the thing that's most interesting for you also has maybe a trend of not being the healthiest kind of thing. But it also, it needs to keep your interest. It has to be something that you're passionately drawn towards, especially with a formative understanding of what relationships are.
Yeah.
Has your ideal partner mapped onto previous experiences in that realm? Has there been a divergence?
There's actually been a divergence. So when I was younger, through my teen years, I was really into, I want to fix people. I want to fix, the men I'm dating. And then I was really attracted to, they don't have all their act together and maybe I can help them. I want to help them. And then I learned, exactly, that's not healthy. And so it wasn't until later where I learned, it's okay. You don't have to go in wanting to fix them. They have probably, their own things they're working on. We all do, we're humans. We have personal growth. We grow. And so I now go into relationships and dating with that mindset of we're people, we grow, have a growth mindset. They're not perfect. I'm not perfect. And it's okay.
Is it dispassionate at all? If everything is okay, is there any sort of, for lack of a better term, boredness to it?
No.
Interesting.
I don't think so. No.
And then the reason I ask is because literature, especially literature in the romantic sense, is often very fantastic and high passion driven, and a bit of an escapism. But there seems to be a little bit of a craving for something that is less sturdy.
No, that's true. I think you're right. There is a craving for the less sturdy, but I'm telling myself, okay, pull back. Remember, it's okay. It's okay, and it's okay. It is. It's okay. It's okay.
Aziz Ansari, of all people, wrote that book. Did you ever read Modern?
Oh, I did.
I thought it was pretty interesting, just the way that he made it really accessible for understanding the trajectories of love. That like a solid 7, it's going to be a 7 for a long time. So even a 10 that drops down to a 2 may be cool, while it's a 10, not as great when it's a 2.
That's right.
And he breaks down the data that he looked into, or had others help him look into, where people report higher life quality with those consistent, stable relationships, even at the expense of the passion.
It's also slow burn. Do you read books, romance books or any books with slow burn? Or are you familiar with slow burn? Okay, so slow burn is the idea is that it takes people longer to get to know each other. It's not that instant spark, that instant connection, that instant flame of holy crap, I am wildly attracted to this person and fireworks. It's actually healthier to have slow burn. Because those are the more longer lasting, meaningful relationships with a strong foundation that isn't, immediate physical chemistry or immediate sexual chemistry either. It's more kind of emotional chemistry. It's more intellectual chemistry. It's who is this person and how can we find something to connect on and vibe about? And then those tend to be longer lasting, but they can still be equally passionate.
Do you think it works the same way in friendship? Because I imagine you're able to see people pretty quickly, able to help them be seen pretty quickly, which is in some sense a passionate meeting. And it doesn't feel a little bit like slow burn. Do you have to pace yourself with seeing people?
Oh, 100%. I do. Yeah. That's a big thing for me is, if I immediately meet someone, I'm like, I want to know everything about this person. But I'm like, slow down, get to know them, really make sure that you also want this friendship. It's two-sided. It's not either one is doing all the work on this. But also, you're right. It's like that passion, like, hey, we find things to connect on and this is awesome and fun.
Yeah. What does good friendship look like for you right now?
To me, right now, it looks like two people who are supporting each other, who mutually have a lot of things in common, but it's also a way in which, we want to grow. We want to do things together. We have healthy communication. We have healthy, we can tell each other anything. We're supportive, we're open, but we're also ever growing and connecting. It's all about also connection and friendship for me.
Do you think it's a conscious effort? I noticed that I'm 33 now.
Oh, nice. And
people develop and change quite a bit. And the support is not as hard to do, but the connection's a little bit harder.
Oh, it is, especially because I have a problem. Like, there's so little time I have, and there's so many things I want to do in life. And so it's all about, for me, prioritization too. I have to consciously think about, I haven't talked to so-and-so in a while. I'm going to reach out. Let's catch up, or, hey, I miss so-and-so. I want to catch up with them. So a lot of it's kind of like you also have to be that person to put in that motivation, to put in that communication.
Yeah, it does. Priority is a good word. I would love to know sort of where the priority list of your life is right now.
Oh, that's a loaded question.
That's a good one, though.
That's a really good one because I have a zillion hobbies and things I want to do, and also I have a career, and I'm also trying to grow in my career, put in that motivation and that attention and prioritization in my career too. And then there's family, and then there's friends. So, but where do they all fall? Great question. Probably for me, it's career and family go first, and then under that is friendships, and then under that is hobbies.
When you're seeking out new hobbies specifically, what are you pursuing, and how do they fit into that sort of prioritization?
I would say, it really depends also on me on, okay, if I'm going to live my life and then regret never trying this, how am I going to feel about that? And the answer is I probably will have some regrets. So how then on the priority list of mine, do I have realistic time to cram in another hobby, first of all, but also it's the regret factor too for me.
So the cold plunge is actually a good example of this. So with the cold plunge specifically, it's a drastic experience. So is it something where you're moving towards experience, like the flavors of life, or is it that there's a more chronic thing that you want to fit in health-wise Which of these two is it? They feel perpendicular.
Surprisingly, not health.
Really?
It was not health driven for me. It was, this looks like a great new community. You know, I want to literally and figuratively immerse myself into a new community and just meet new people and make new friends. It's been a while for me since I made new friends, and I wanted to make new friends. And I'm really lucky because I did make new friends through cold plunging.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot of courage to just go into something new.
It really does. The bay is also 50 degrees.
Yeah.
You can only last in there realistically for 6 minutes without catching hypothermia. So
Yeah. Are there any things that you've been thinking about recently that you've been wanting to talk about and haven't had the opportunity to?
Oh, now that's the question. How, my optimism around San Francisco and where we're going here in San Francisco. And I mean, with AI taking over a lot of things, it's definitely affected the city. It's affected our lives, people's lives, the real estate market, the way we do things, and then just humanity too. I'm worried about a Terminator situation where the robots revolt against us and that's it. And then hasta la vista, baby. I worry about that. I worry what AI is going to permanently affect humanity and where's it all going. I want to make sure that we have those guardrails in place that we can still be humans at the end of the day, and that AI helps us. That's where I try and come from. I mean, especially with my job, for example, in the way I've been using AI, I try and, it helps me with my job. It helps automate processes, but I don't lose that humanity factor that I have.
Where do you try to draw the line with your own humanity with AI? Like, what do you let it affect for you and what do you gate it away from?
I gate it away from affecting how I can bring myself into life, into who I am, my identity. I don't let it affect who I am. I don't let it affect what I'm doing at least in my life, or to help make life better, to help make this world better. But I use it more technologically, or if there's a way I can automate something, or even something that I'm like, okay, here's what I have in my fridge. What can I make for dinner? Small things that try not to take away humanity.
Do you think in a broad human way, it increases the plane of our mental bandwidth such that if we didn't have to worry about everything that is boring or just needs to get done, all of the chores, all of the feeding yourself kind of stuff, you have a lot of time and mental energy to do other things, maybe a second level. What are some of those things that you think humanity is going to start to care about when all the boring stuff is gone?
Great question. Hopefully it's things to make this world a better place, or things we can do that feeds our souls.
And how do you see it affecting the real estate market?
Well, it's just outpricing people now. I mean, it's ridiculous. A 2-bedroom's now $8,000 average rent. I mean, it's placing people out of the city now. It's unaffordable except to those who are, in AI companies making billions plus their stock. And then unfortunately, not all of us, are making that kind of money. And also in my job, in human resources, we study compensation structure. And so it's fascinating because we now understand, okay, AI is now affecting other pricing models and compensation models, and what's the band range here, compensation band range here in San Francisco compared to New York, compared to even Atlanta, and Austin. So it has that also, it ripple effect too in compensation structure too, even in my career and in my job.
Yeah, it changes the landscape. It, in a negative way, sort of raises that ceiling there.
Yeah.
Especially here, I've seen that there's an Amazon just, I think, massive building for Bezos' new company.
Oh, yeah.
In Oakland.
That's right, in Oakland.
And then Musk just did the same thing, I think. And what that's going to do is take a lot of that pay scale and move it over to the East Bay.
Exactly.
And on one hand, that's going to be gentrification.
Oh, 100%.
On the other hand, it's like, okay, new allocation of resources into an area that could use some resources. And I don't know how to feel about it, but I would love from a real estate professional.
Oh, I'm not I don't have my license or anything.
No,
sorry, I work for
in the sphere.
Sure.
In the sphere.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to, I think, gentrify Oakland a lot more, which I think could be good for Oakland, but also Oakland is so unique in that regard too, that it's not 100% gentrified. I mean, there's still pockets and corners of Oakland that haven't been touched, and that's what makes it so special. That's like where I live in North Beach right now. There are just pockets that are undisturbed, and then there's a bunch of NIMBYs versus YIMBYs, and then it's when they all come together, we're like, let's just compromise. Can we just compromise on something? And then I knew, for example, gentrification was coming to Chinatown with the Cole Hardware that went in, about 5-6 years ago. I mean, we did need a hardware store desperately, but that's how I knew gentrification's here. It's coming. So I think, it's important to try and keep the authenticity of these corners of the neighborhoods here, whether it's Oakland, whether it's Berkeley, even where I grew up, Marin, just keep it. But also, I think it could also help. It could put more money and resources also into these parts of our wonderful where we live.
There's a lot of really cool projects that were philanthropically funded around San Francisco. And I think that's a positive way for wealth to be distributed and maintain culture.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that you like to see people putting money towards?
Oh, the arts, 100%, because as you know, a triple threat, I love my arts. I love supporting the arts. I love supporting other artists. And that to me is how we can build culture, is through the arts and make arts more accessible for everyone. But also it can be other community events. Maybe it's another library, something people can learn from, or maybe it's a hangout space, or maybe it's another outdoor park, places for people to really be able to come together.
Very specific to the arts, you've seen what goes on backstage.
Yeah.
What can money unlock? Like, what is the specific break point that money can get through that allows the arts to flourish more?
I would say programmatically speaking, it can be more plays, more productions. It can be hire more actors. They can have a more fair, equitable wage. Everyone can have a more fair, equitable wage, from the lighting designer to the actors. It can be just more resources. It can be exactly more plays, more dances, more programs.
So it's paying people, like the thing, if they are able to do it as a livelihood, they're more likely to do it.
Exactly. As we say, there's no money in the arts, but really there really isn't a lot of money. So if there were, I would be, in the arts, not as enjoying as my hobby and my passion in life. So that's why I have the career I have. Yeah.
I do really wonder and hope.
Yeah.
I've seen everybody talks about how in the age of the multi-screen existence, especially with AI, people crave a lot more in-person time. And I do wonder if we're going to see a resurgence of the performing arts, and especially if it's coming from people who were screen native, maybe the people with more resources, having more interests. Let's move some of that money into your interests.
I mean, that would be great. And then it could also bring people together more.
Let's end it on a spicy note here. I'd love your thoughts about the new Safeway build.
Oh, okay. So I worry about, first of all, the infrastructure, because the marina, that is all built on landfill. If there's an earthquake, liquefaction can happen. The ground can turn into liquid, and I learned that through my neighborhood emergency response team training. I'm a nerd cert, and we learned about liquefaction in high earthquakes. So I worry that it's just going to melt in that liquid concrete on the landfill of the marina. So that's one part. Another part is, again, that gentrification. How is it going to affect the community there? How's it going to affect the people and people's livelihoods? There's definitely got to be NIMBYs there saying, I don't want this massive Safeway to destroy these beautiful Victorian homes on this corner of the marina. I get it too. Or exactly. There are a lot of historical buildings in the marina too. And so that could be another factor. It could be they're going to come and destroy this and build on top of this and destroy what makes that part of the marina so special. So that could be another, NIMBY selling point. But again, with the Safeway, the Dateway, it's very communal. Grocery stores are communal. It's where we go both when we need things or we're hanging out with friends. We're like, let's grab some wine and some snacks. It's grocery stores are community. It's communal too. So that's also, people have dating stories where they met at that Safeway. We call it Dateway for a reason.
Would you live there?
In the marina. Well, I actually looked at the marina a little bit when I first moved to San Francisco.
Would you live in the new build after potentially it's done?
Depends on the amenities, honestly. I know the location's pretty good, but I'm curious about the amenities. What are they offering people? What's it going to look like? What are the plans? I'm curious to know more. So I love where I live personally. I don't know if I'm going to move, but I'm curious to see, what's the ROI of the Safeway? I'm curious on the return on the investment of both, for people who want to live there, who feel like they will live there, and who potentially will live there.
Yeah, what's the new culture going to be around there? If things
Right.
like that gets built. Small note, I went to a symphony in Golden Gate Park,
Oh,
and they were honoring people with your certification.
Oh,
which is
no
pretty cool. Yeah. So the neighborhood response team, right?
Yeah, nerd.
The nerd. Yeah.
Nerd, become a nerd.
Cool.
Learn how to save people. And you can hang out with the SF fire department. They tell you all their secrets. It's kind of fun.
That's cool. I just saw a fire truck that was parked when I
Yeah.
was walking.
I was like, oh, hey, friends, can I catch a ride?
They have beautiful interiors now. It's like a hand-stitched leather seat in the aerial fire truck.
I know.
How cool. Perks of being a firefighter.
That's right. The perks.
Yeah.
Perks of nerd.
Well, this has been phenomenal. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, too. This has been so much fun. Thank you.